So let's speak to some Olympic hopefuls. Ciara McGeehan is a champion middle distance runner from Portaferry who's hoping to head to Japan finally to compete with Team Ireland, and the three-time world champion British Olympian archer Patrick Huston from East Belfast, who will be competing with Team GB. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, how are you?
We're not too bad. Ciara, if we can start with you. So we get this news this morning. The president of Tokyo 2020, it's 100% going ahead. Are you 100% going?
Oh yes, 100%. I'm very fortunate that I'm fully qualified. I've got my QT ticked, so I'm just focusing on being fully fit and ready to toe that line in the best shape of my life.
And Patrick, what about you? Are you definitely going?
Yep, I qualified about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. We got just up to the selection point just last year when the lockdown hit. I think we were 4 days away from selection. So it was a very long year waiting for it to come around again. But thankfully everything worked out nicely, and I've got my ticket to Tokyo.
I can just hear the excitement in both your voices this morning. Ciara, tell us, since you found out that it's definitely all happening, what has changed? Has it added any extra workload to the training?
No, to be honest, I think it's the same for most athletes. We were all fully set for the Olympics last year, and all of our plans. It's not really something you only start training for in the year of the competition. It's something that you ultimately dedicate your life training towards. So my training's been lined out for years in advance ultimately. So my training hasn't changed too much. I run every single day, twice a day, every day, sometimes a little more, and so the intensity's still there, and as I get closer to the racing season, it ups a little. But no, training's in full flow, and you know we've just fast forwarded a year now and taken the blueprint from last year forward to 2021.
Yeah, Ciara, you run more in a day than I run in a year. I think it's safe to say. Patrick, what about yourself then? Of course, it was to be Tokyo 2020, but it was delayed by a year or so. I mean, it's an extra 12 months of preparation and time. Has that added any pressure?
The pressure I don't think's changed that much. It's going to be the same people, it's going to be the same standards, but it's given me a fantastic opportunity to learn an awful lot about how my body works. Basically I've been studying some fantastic stuff on Instagram and YouTube. There's amazing amounts of knowledge on there. So I've learned an awful lot, and then I've applied this stuff to my body and how that I train, and I'm going to be going far more athletic, far more functional, and far more capable than I was in Rio. So I'm just excited to see how this new me is able to perform out there.
Yeah, it's going to be very different from Rio, as you just mentioned there. Of course, we know that, for example, there might not be any crowds depending on how things pan out. How different do you expect that it will be?
I expect it's going to be a very different experience. I think the main thing will be the lack of crowds, the lack of cheering. You know, when you shoot an arrow and it goes into 10, everybody cheers, and you have that fantastic organic noise of everybody going woo. And then if it's a 9, there's a bit of cheering, and then if it's an 8 or a 7, it's sort of stale and quiet. So the fantastic thing is I've got an entire team going with me. In Rio, I was a single athlete there, along with a single athlete there, Naomi Falkard, on the women's side. So this time I'm taking a full men's team and a full women's team with me. So it'll be fantastic to have that backup of friends and teammates supporting me that way.
And Ciara, tell us, we can hear the excitement for both of you, but I mean, are there any concerns? It's obviously such a fast-moving situation. You don't know what could happen between now and then.
Yeah, look, it's a constantly evolving situation for everybody across the world, and as athletes, I think we have to remain pretty fluid and open to those changes. We're usually fairly fixed, at least I am, in my plans. I put it on paper and then I stick to it. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and it's something that I've chatted to my sports psych about, just dealing with the unknown of what the whole situation of COVID and the pandemic has brought to many of our lives. But much the same as many of your listeners, we all have to adapt and kind of overcome those challenges. Yeah. There's always the worry about the virus and looking after our health, but I definitely trust that the Olympic committees have put as much as they can in place to keep us safe and to keep the people of Japan safe.
And just very quickly, Patrick, we'll give the final word to you. Any concerns at all?
I'm not overly worried. I had COVID myself back in January, so I'd like to say that my natural immunity should cover me, and I think half my teammates are off being vaccinated this morning. So I think everything will work out nicely, and I think we'll have the light at the shining light at the end of the tunnel that the Olympics is meant to be for this rather dark period for humanity.
Okay, well listen, good luck to both of you, and hopefully you can come back and speak to us when you have a nice gold medal round your neck. That's Olympic hopefuls Ciara McGeehan and Patrick Huston, who will be representing Team Ireland and Team GB at Tokyo 2020.